I'm going to have you start by telling me why you were out at the protests. What were you doing out there?
Well, what I do is IRL streaming, and I just got out there. I just thought it was important to document what was happening out there, and I thought that a lot of people would want to see what's happening. I wanted to see what's happening, and I'm sure other people wanted to see it, especially live. I, the first protest I went to was the George Floyd one, from day one all the way to day two, three. I think I went like 5 days in a row.
What was the feeling like out there at the George Floyd protests, since that was kind of the first one that set them all off? What were you seeing out there, and what was the feeling like on the street?
I think, well, definitely that one was where there was the most anger, because the video obviously was hard to watch, the video, and there was just anger. There was a lot of anger. But for the first day, it was kind of the first day people were angry, but there wasn't anybody damaging. Everyone was yelling and just protesting and yelling. People took to the streets, but no one was angry. I mean, no one caused any vandalism or anything like that. It wasn't until like the second and third days that I seen like the things got ramped up.
During the George Floyd protests, were the majority of the protesters peaceful, or could you tell if it was kind of half and half? What were the percentages of people that were there to actually protest, or people that were there to vandalize and loot?
Well, the majority was peaceful. They were just people were angry, but they weren't crossing the line. People took to the streets for the first day. The second day, I noticed there was some young people that they started doing like little graffiti or like breaking windows. But I think it was the third day that shit really hit the fan. That's when it turned into an all-out riot. Yeah, as far as the cops, yeah, at that time I didn't feel the danger to the cops till they started shooting their rounds. That was on day 3. Before that, it was a very small group. I was there from when it was just a small group, and then it got a little bigger, and then like the third day, everyone came out. It got so big, and people were coming from everywhere. I guess all over L.A. County, even other parts of California. And I didn't feel in danger from the police at all, or I just didn't even think of it till they started shooting. Then I was like, oh shit. But I did feel the danger within the crowd because once it started going into a riot, you can that mob mentality kind of take over. So I did feel like shit, anything could happen here. Like no one had control.
When you're in the crowd, does it feel unsafe in the way that police probably wouldn't come in and break anything up if you were getting, assaulted by a fellow protester or somebody that was looting? Do you think if you would have been in that kind of tough situation, somebody would have come in and pulled them off of you, or were the police just generally staying out of the area?
Oh yeah, I don't think the cops would have gone in. No, they were just forming perimeters and trying to control the crowds. And maybe if it got to like gunshots or something, maybe they'd come in. But I think if it was just like fighting or getting jumped by a group of people, I don't think they would have gone in there.
Were you covering the Jacob Blake protests?
Yes.
How was that different than the George Floyd protests? Were the numbers different? Was the feeling different? Talk a little bit about that.
That one, for me, what I seen was pretty peaceful. It was people were angry, but the George Floyd one seemed to be like that was the one that set everyone off. That's the one that turned into a national riot, pretty much. But during that one, it was people. Obviously, the people that go out there either they're angry. You know what I mean? They're out there to protest what happened, and they're angry. But I didn't feel as much emotion as there was during the George Floyd. That George Floyd thing that was like a once in a lifetime crazy thing.
When you're out at these protests, do you start to see the same press people every once in a while? Is it to a point that you can recognize the same people that come out to cover?
Yeah, I see a lot of the same people. A lot of, you see a lot of the news, the mainstream news, the stringers, and just people streaming on their Facebook, Instagram, just civilians out there documenting.
Does it seem like the police know where the press is usually located and they can kind of keep them out of the range of the pepper balls and the non-lethal equipment, or do they shoot into the press corps too?
At first, I thought they did. Like I was able to just be filming in between the protesters and in between the police, like in that buffer zone. And I always identify myself. I kind of make sure, sometimes I talk to the cops, make sure they know that I'm there and I'm like not involved and that I'm not a threat. So I was able to just, film without a problem.
Were you there the night that the crowd got trapped in 3rd Street Tunnel?
Yeah, I got trapped in there with the crowd. Well, the protest was going down the streets in downtown Los Angeles, and they had gone through the tunnel, I think, because the protesters, they're protesting almost, I don't know, I don't go to all of them, but they protest a lot. They're doing their marches. What you guys see on the news is very little to the amount of actual protesting that's going out there, They've been doing it like every day. Those people are out there every day protesting. So they had gone through that tunnel before on other times, and I've been through that tunnel, filming. And this time they went through the tunnel and they shut it off on the other side. So it was like a surprise to everyone that they actually trapped people in. Because I think protesting, I mean, you have the right to protest and they're just walking through a tunnel. It's like they can't arrest people for walking.
What was the feeling like when you actually knew that you were being trapped in there? Did people start to panic? What was the general feeling?
As far as me, I just thought, well, we're probably going to get arrested. Me. As far as the protesters, I mean, you hear everything. People are mad. They're screaming at the cops. There's anger. And, it just gets ramped up. Emotions get ramped up. But me, I was just like, well, maybe I'll be able to get out of it as media is recording, but who knows?
Why was it important to you to go out and film an unedited stream of what was happening during the protests? What compelled you to go out there and get that long version of the events that were taking place?
I don't know, I just like streaming, and I like the uncut, the rawness of the footage, and I try not to get involved. Early on, I did get emotionally involved. I would say something if I seen people doing stuff that I didn't like. I just kind of was like, okay, I need to play this more like down the middle and just let people that are watching decide what they want to decide, because I'm not going to change their minds either way, And I just wanted to document it, and it protects everyone. I think the camera protects everyone on both sides, the cops and the people out there. It doesn't lie. This is all new to me, like I have no experience with the riot police and stuff like that. So, I mean, it's kind of overwhelming what I've been able to see out there. The non-lethal rounds, those rubber foam bullets. They have another one. This is LAPD. The blue bullet that looks like that blue handball that looks like a badminton thing. Pepper spray. I've seen snipers later on at different protests. I've seen snipers on the roof. Some people say they're spotters, but to me they look like they were crouched like a sniper. I don't know why they would put a spotter on the roof. But I've just seen so many artillery, and now the sheriffs, they have a whole different artillery. They have different toys. They have those slinkies. Those giant slinkies that are like barriers.
They can't arrest anybody till they have to declare it an unlawful assembly.
Why are you in riot gear?
It's not illegal to protest.
Why are you in riot gear? Why are you in riot gear? Why are you in riot gear? Why are you in riot gear?
It probably collapses on you. Just a giant slinky. I don't know. I guess if it's plugged into something on the other side and they play some super annoying sound.
They have exploding grenades. They have flashbang. Right? I don't know if that's what they're called. Flashbangs, right? The usual mace, pepper spray. They have a Gatling gun type thing that rotates. I think that shoots the non-lethals. It's crazy, man. They look like stormtroopers out there with these big ass guns, you know?
And what artillery and weapons do the protesters usually have?
Weapon? I haven't seen the protesters have any weapons besides they start using for shields. They use umbrellas, and they use like frisbees or like maybe like a top of a trash can or something. You know, like rubber stuff to protect them from the mace and the pepper spray and the non-lethals. But at first, I didn't see that. At first, like going back to the George Floyd protest. It wasn't like that wasn't organized, you know. It didn't seem organized. But now on these other protests, since so many incidents keep happening and they keep coming out, they're way more organized. They have experience and they know what to look for, and they're very organized. Yeah. So I was out there the first day of the Dijon Kizzee when people started gathering at the site, at the site where it happened. In the neighborhood, they didn't allow people to get close to where it happened, but about like maybe half a block away, another half block this way, the crowd gathered, and the crowd gathered. And I went there, and I think the news that people were saying, I guess they were spreading through social media, was that the body was just been laying there for hours, and people were mad about that. And I mean, they're just. You can tell in the protests they're just fed up. Like, they just hate that people are dying over and over and over again and getting shot in the back. And I don't know. It's like sometimes you don't know what to believe because you hear so much information from so many different places and people are very emotional and you don't know what to believe. I just go out there and kind of like record what's going on. And don't take sides, really, Okay, yeah. So like after the crowd was there for a while, and people, they had the line where the sheriffs were, and where the crowd built up there in the neighborhood. Someone came out and announced that the family of Dijon Kizzee wanted, they, out of respect to the neighborhood, they didn't want people there, so they moved to the sheriff's station, which is down the way, not too far away, and the crowd moved over there in front of the sheriff's station on Imperial Highway.
And were the sheriffs sending people out there to kind of calm things down and to talk to anybody, or was it just kind of a standoff situation?
Oh yeah, it was definitely like a standoff. When the crowd came out there, the sheriffs came, taped the front. That first night, the crowd was able to go into the parking lot and almost to the entrance of that building there on Imperial, the sheriff's station, and they put up the perimeter, they put up the police tape, and I don't know, for the most part, I didn't see anything like any violence or any. Oh, did I see any? No violence. I seen like later on in the night there was like some graffiti they tagged on the sheriff station there, in between the crowd. Some people were tagging stuff over the sheriff station signs.
On the second night of the protest, it looked like one of the guys that had a megaphone, one of the people that had a megaphone, he was dressed as a wizard. It looked like he got targeted by police. Did you see him get taken down?
Yeah, I seen him get taken down, dude. I got a little bit on stream at the very end. Yeah, after a while, they kind of like, I don't know, maybe they negotiated or something. The crowd kind of started leaving, There was just like a lot of yelling back and forth, and the crowd, not back and forth, the sheriffs don't say anything. They just sit there and they don't say anything. They don't do anything. They just push people back if they try to get too close or something. That's it. But as far as, that guy, yeah, he gets in their face. He has a megaphone and he's yelling at them in that auto-tune thing, and
Kind of lucky auto-tune wizard wasn't around earlier.
You're sweating in your shorts. They gave you the shotgun because you're the smallest. They gave you the shotgun because you're the smallest. And you like being a cop because you're small. You're small on the outside and on the inside. Yeah, why do they got this old ass man out here? Shouldn't he be the... He's mad because he's built like that. You should be mad at God, not at black people. Be mad at God for how you're built. I'm sorry you admitted this racist. I'm sorry that your life turned out this way. I'm sorry that your life turned out this way. I'm sorry. What's his name? Scumbag. That's his name. SpongeBob. His name's SpongeBob. This motherfucker is SpongeBob. You're too old, bro. Did your grandchildren to abuse? Did you have like your family to abuse or something?
I seen that later on when the protesters kind of got pushed back to the sidewalk. I think the cops made an announcement, the unlawful assembly announcement. So everyone started leaving and going back. And for the few people that were still like recording, there was media there, the stringers, people streaming, and probably pretty much most of the protesters were still out there. I seen that when I was off to the side, the sheriffs that were standing out there went out to like the curb over by the street, and that guy was like across the street, and they chased him down and they tackled him and arrested him. I don't know for what the charge was or the reason. Well, when they started running and attacking, my first instinct was to run because I didn't want to get caught up in the melee. and or to run and get out the way and try to get the shot, you know, to go to the side. Even up to that point, I thought I was safe as a independent streamer out there filming, you know. I thought that I even have a helmet that says press on it, you know, to identify myself as press, but I thought that would, because all this, I've been to so many events and I've never had a problem, you know, so I felt pretty safe if I just made myself off to the side that I'd be able to like film, but I didn't want to get caught up. And your first instinct is to run when you see like, it's like an army, you know, it's like a military army running at you. And they went and they tackled that guy, and I turned around. I got the last, at the very end, the footage when they got him. And then while I was filming, it looked like one cop took 2 shots of pepper spray, or yeah, I think it's the pepper balls. It's not mace, pepper balls, right in my direction. He was shooting at me, but in front of a car in front of me. You know. Oh yeah, you can tell. Like after that, it was really like the tensions are high, you know, because now they're out there targeting people, arresting people, and just I think that's the first time that that I seen the sheriffs actually shoot stuff out into the crowd. That was that first night that I seen them shoot. I think they mostly shot the pepper spray and maybe some non-lethals. Maybe, I'm not 100% sure. I have to go back.
And
but
when they started shooting that, what did the crowd do? Did they panic? Did they start stampeding? Like, what was the general like feeling after they started shooting the smoke and the pepper rounds?
yeah, most of the crowd just, they turn away and they run. You know, they get out the way. That's your first instinct, is like, you want no piece of that. You know, you don't want the pepper spray. You don't want to get hit with the non-lethal. That thing hits you in the eye, dude. It'll blind your eye. You know. And from what I've seen, I mean, obviously they yell back. Some of the crowd yells back. You know, they don't like it. Nobody's gonna like it. You know, but that's as much as I've seen. I mean, I didn't see any of the crowd throwing anything at them, or, you know what I mean? Like, if anything, they put their shields up. Sometimes they get in like little groups and they have their shields and they back away. That's what I've seen. I've never seen at these ones anybody throw something at the cops, or like use a weapon or anything, or throw something. The most I've seen is like someone threw an empty water bottle, like 50 feet. It landed 50 feet before the cops, you know what I mean? And it was empty. It was just water bottle. Everyone just kind of dispersed, you know, after that I've seen. I didn't see anyone get arrested except for that guy that got tackled. And, yeah, I think people disperse and they go back, and that was it for that night.
And now we're talking about Tuesday, so the night that you actually got arrested. What was the feeling on Tuesday the 8th when you went to cover the protest?
Yeah, you could tell, like, the crowd, you can tell that tensions are always going, it just keeps elevating. Like, you can tell that tensions are high. Each day it keeps going on. Like, it's like nothing's coming out of it, you know what I mean? It's just both sides are running into a wall, you know what I mean? Like, the protesters are running into the cops, and they're not doing anything, you know, they're not going to do anything. And the cops, I thought that they wouldn't do anything to the protesters, nothing too bad, but it changed. That night is when I seen that they unloaded a whole shitload of rounds. Non-lethals, the flashbangs. That's when I was hiding behind that car, and one went right over my head. 2 of them went right over my head, but one, there's a video out there where me ducking, you could see it go right over and shoot over. Before Tuesday, I just felt like there's been the tension getting higher, not only between the protesters and the police, but also between the protesters and people in the neighborhood. There's like people in the neighborhood coming in.
What was the child doing here at nighttime whenever the cops were shooting at daytime? Why? When
community. Please, and we do not come back to the neighborhood. We ask them politely, please, do not come back to this neighborhood and push this.
Yelling against the protesters, or I see like people that are, and by protesters I mean it's not like one group. There's so many different people out there. There's groups, there's I guess people in certain political parties, there's individuals, there's people from the community, you know what I mean? Everyone's out there. The stringers, the news media, the live streamers, people on Facebook, Instagram, people's mom, dad, kids. There's not a lot of kids, but young adults, I should say. All right, so going into Tuesday, like the thing had been going on a few times. This is between the sheriffs. You know, this is a whole new department that these people are protesting against. Before, all the protests were kind of against the LAPD. So this was the sheriffs, at least the ones that I've been to. And you can just tell the tensions were they're high, dude. They're high between the police and the protesters. And with the protesters, there's also like, they're just individual protesters, there's groups, there's different political groups or parties, or people that are just out there looky-loos. There's people in the neighborhood that come out, people that support, and there's just so many people out there. It's not like a centralized thing, you know? It's just anyone that's out there that's kind of against, I guess they're against the killings, or the idea of the killings and of what's happening, and they're against the killing, you know. Whether you think it's justified or not, the people out there definitely don't think it's justified, most of them. So yeah, before that Tuesday, I even texted two people I knew that, like, I just felt like something bad was going to happen, because even within those people in the crowd, that there was people coming out and antagonizing the crowd, and kind of like there was infighting within the people on the other side. You know, there was fighting amongst the crowd side now, which I didn't really see before. Like, you would see it once in a while, but tensions were getting really high. And so I just had an overwhelming feeling that, like, something bad, like, this is not going to end well. Like, something bad is going to have to happen for something to end, you know, for the thing to end. Okay, so the night before that Tuesday, that's the first time I seen that they unloaded into the crowd. They unloaded a shitload of rounds, you know, like, too many to count. If you look up the footage, it's out there. You can hear and see. A shitload of pepper balls, shitload of flashbangs and non-lethals. So I knew that things are going to be really, really elevated for the next time if they came out there the next day. So I even texted my friends two of my friends that I've had a bad feeling that something was going to happen that night, which was just like random. Yeah, but I just felt it, like something bad is coming, because it's just elevating, and what is the solution? What is the solution out here, you know? Like, who knows? And yeah, so that day on Tuesday was actually the shortest time that I've actually been there. I just got there. Even when I first started my stream, for some reason there was a church service going on at a church there. And, you know, I was raised Catholic, but I don't really practice religion, but I stopped for a little bit, and just to be part of the church, because I don't know, for some reason I just felt like that'd be a good introduction to the stream too. And then I usually go in on my bike, you know, so I ride in and I rode down. And just within like maybe 20 minutes, 30 minutes, it was already an unlawful assembly. And they started kicking people out. And the crowd got, right, it was because the protesters have the right to be there, right? They're not doing anything illegal until it's declared an unlawful assembly. And then after that, the cops usually give you a certain time frame to leave. And they block off certain streets, and they give you the exit point. And on that night, they gave the exit point to go in the direction where the crowd went. But as the crowd went, I don't know what happened, but they started firing on the crowd again. And I was actually able to film on the side with the media, and I was actually filming the sheriffs and behind the sheriffs as they were I was behind the sheriffs as they were shooting into the crowd, pushing them up, not Imperial Highway, but Normandy. They were headed north on Normandy. So I was able to get the footage, and I was live streaming, and you can see on the video that I'm behind them. And then, so I started going back towards this way. I started going around where I was parked, you know, ride my bike to get out of there. And I see, I go up like, I don't know how many blocks, 5, 6 blocks or something away from that corner, up the way. And I make a turn, and I see the helicopter. I start seeing some of the protesters, you know, walking back to their cars and leaving. But it just happened so fast. I see, I'm like streaming. I look to the right, and I see like a couple of the protesters there, little groups, maybe like, I don't know, 6 people here, 5 people, 3, 4 people. And then I look, and I see some bright lights. I see the truck, and I'm like, oh, it's the sheriff truck. They're big. They have this giant, like, maybe it's like a F-250, F-350, and it's rigged up. It's like a giant, intimidating truck. Like, when you see that thing, it's like a war zone vehicle, you know? It has 2 doors on the side that opens up that are bulletproof, that just flap open like 2 giant doors, look like big ears or something. And then it has the platform around where, like, you can carry, I don't know how many people hang off of it, 20 officers, SWAT, you know? And that thing is coming. I see it. I see the light. I'm on my bike. I'm on my bike. I have my lights on my bike, obviously, you know? I follow all the laws, you know? And I just feel a fucking pain. And I hear the shot, and then I just feel my left fucking knee in pain, you know? And I get shot. I'm like, fuck. So I just get like, you know, you just get filled with adrenaline because you're like, oh shit, dude, I just don't want to get... Once you get shot, it's like, oh shit, dude, this just got real serious in an instant, you know? And you don't know, so I got shot and I went to the right off my bike, and I'm like, I'm just going to stop and put my hands up, obviously, because I don't know if they shot me with the fucking real bullet or no, you know what I mean? You don't even think, you just feel the pain, and you're like, fuck, I don't want to get killed, you know, like, I don't want to get shot. So I go to the right, and I'm still streaming this is live, you know, but I don't know if the stream got it. You can see what happened, but I don't think you could, like, tell perfectly, you know.
Oh, fuck! Get on the fucking ground! Get on the ground now! Get on the ground now! Get on the fucking ground!
And I go to the right, and I just get tackled. I get tackled right away, and I'm falling. I'm like, I have my backpack, I have a helmet, I have a mask, and the helmet's tied up, and I just fall to the floor, and I'm fucking just scared as fuck, you know, like, just please don't, you know. I don't even know where they came from. I don't know if it was the cops in there, or if there was, but the cops were in that neighborhood hunting for the protesters, and that was like many blocks away from the order of dispersal. So they were going after them in the neighborhoods where they told them to leave too. You know what I mean? So that's what I don't get. And yeah, so they tackle me. I just feel people on me. They're fucking yelling at me, you know, like yelling some shit. And I'm just like, please, please. Like, I'm in so much pain because I just got hit. I've fallen. I'm over the bike. I'm on the curb. I just like in a horrible because they're on me, you know, they're putting weight on me. I had a helmet, and then like I think they said like put your hands behind your back or don't resist. Like, I can't really remember, but this is like 1.5 seconds into, like, after being shot and falling down. It's like, okay, like, yeah, no problem. I'm trying to tell them, like, no, please, like, don't, like, yeah, no problem. Like, no, I try to say I press a medium, just recording, but I didn't even know if I said that right away, you know. I was just like, I was more worried about, like, I don't want these guys to fuck me up, you know. So then I'm laying there, dude, and the cop just fucking takes a punching me right in my lip, dude, busting my shit up. Punched me in the lip and split my lip, you know. And I think I even say it on stream, like, because I didn't know if the stream was still on, but I wanted to get that on stream, you know, at least if, Like, why would you punch me in the face? Like, I'm not doing anything, you know? Like, I'm not resisting, I'm nothing. I'm just asking you to, like, I'm down on my chest. It's just like, I got nowhere to go. It's just like, you get overwhelmed, you know? And also, I had my hands behind my back, but I had a backpack on too. So it's like, if I put my hands under the backpack, you know, like, where do I go? I'm just like, I'm not resisting. That's what I was saying. Like, I'm not resisting. Don't worry. Like, that's it. Like, I'm pressed after. So I was streaming, and the phone, I had two phones. I used one phone to stream off of, and one phone is my regular phone, and I use the connection to stream, right? One I just use as a camera, basically. So that phone fell to the side, and it remained on for a little bit afterwards. But if you look in the footage, I think that they stomped on it, like after when it fell there. I can't verify that, but everyone else that was arrested said that they had their equipment broken or stomped, and they kept it. They took both my phones. As of right now, they're lost. They're not in evidence, and they're not in property, so they're just missing. And my other phone, they actually took from me in the police station, you know? And there might even be a video of that, because there was a reporter, Fox 11 News they had access in the police station, actually in the police station once they, you know, they put us in the truck and all that shit and took us in to the station. They took that phone out of my pocket, so that should have been in my property. Also, like, the stuff but my backpack was gone. My bike is gone. I think the bike is in evidence. That's the only thing that's in evidence. And as far as after the 12 hours that I spent in jail, when I got my property back, the only thing that was there is my keys and a wallet and some headphones that were in my backpack, but the backpack is missing.
Were you able to see after the incident the coverage on Fox 11?
Where LASD had about 12 people they arrested up against the wall, all in handcuffs, that they captured in the different areas of these neighborhoods here. The Sheriff's Department...
Yeah, after I got out, dude, it was just like such a whirlwind, and, like, you know, it was overwhelming. First time I experienced something like that, you know? And, yeah, someone sent me the link. It was like, look, this came out on Fox 11, and look what they're saying. They're saying, like, anarchists, and people are coming in from other parts of the state to cause anarchy, and I don't know, it just seemed like it was super one-sided.
And your helmet was the one that was being shown that you had written press on the side.
Yeah.
Did you write press on the side to attempt to stay safer, or did you write press on the side to mix in with the agitators? What was the goal of writing press on the side?
The press was just to identify myself as press, as recording, because all along I've never been on any side there. You know what I mean? I've never been on the side of the protesters. I've never been on the side of the police. I'm just there documenting and just recording. And yeah, so I didn't used to wear a helmet, but as things started escalating, I got the helmet, and then I would see the other press people, the other streamers. Everyone's wearing press to identify themselves, and I just had to put press on there, just, you know, to identify. It worked. It worked for a while, but that night, they didn't care. They didn't give a fuck. They didn't care.
Did you see the video of the reporter? Her name was Josie. Did you see her get taken down, and did you see any of that?
Yeah, I seen that after in front of the hospital. That shit gave me, like, some PTSD, like, seeing that, like, just seeing, like, because that was still fresh in my mind. I think I had barely, like, it was like a whirlwind. Like, after we got released, we had to go to court within, like, less than 48 hours. I already had the court date, you know? So I had to deal with all that, like, figure out, like, the lawyer showing up, like, what I had to do, if that we were going to get legal help or not, you know? And when I seen that tape, when did I see it, dude? I think I might have seen it Saturday. When did it happen? I seen it like
Saturday night.
Saturday night. I think I seen it Sunday. I think I seen it the day after. And it gave me, like, PTSD just watching it and seeing them. just tackle her and arrest her and putting the charges on her. Because that's the same thing that happened to me. Obviously, she's a more, I guess, verified or experienced journalist. What I do is, I guess, it's protected under the Constitution, but I wouldn't call myself a journalist.
Up to the point that you were arrested, did you ever feel like you were in danger of being hurt, or did you think that because you were out there exercising your constitutional right that you had some sort of protection?
Oh yeah, up to that point I thought I was protected, for sure, by the Constitution, by the law. And for the most part, you know, I was able to like just differentiate, like be different, apart from either side. So I thought I was safe, and I never seen that actually. Up to that point I don't think I've ever seen any media get arrested or anyone recording get arrested. Oh yeah, so like, yeah, when I seen that lady, right, was she from KCCP, right, the radio reporter, like it just brought up these feelings in me because the sheriffs don't have any cameras, you know what I mean? They can, like her, I think they got, the charge they put on her was obstruction of justice because maybe she didn't move out the way in time. She identified herself, but I don't know. But it's just kind of scary because you think like, okay, you're innocent till you're proven guilty, right? Like, you're not committing a crime. Even if you are committing a crime, it's, what crime are you committing? Like, not leaving in time, you know what I mean? Like, not listening. You're not, like, I find it super hard to believe that she actually, like, interfered in the arrest, you know what I mean? Like, did she stop the cops or something? Which, of course not. I doubt it. 99.9%. I really doubt that she's jumping in the middle to interfere with the arrest. If anything, she's recording on the side, and maybe they just wanted to get her for not leaving, you know?
Van.
No, the scary thing is, like, you think you're protected, but the cops, they're not wearing any cameras, so it's your words against them. You know, they can put whatever they want on that ticket. There's no camera. They can write you up for whatever they want. Whether they'll do that or not, it's really up to them.
These less lethal munitions were fired into a crowd that included children, several members of the press, and legal observers. This is what this community has been subject to for the past several nights. The narrative that the sheriffs are painting is of outside agitators doing damage to the area. As someone who has been here every single night, I can say with authority that that narrative is false. And Sheriff Alex Villanueva should know that because he was here on Monday night. Members of the community were yelling his name and trying to get his attention. He stayed in the back. He had his sheriffs put their flashlights on people's faces while they were calling for Alex Villanueva. So when he says that they're outside agitators, that is a flat out lie. Members of the community were pointing out where they live and asking him to come speak to them, and he ignored them. The weapons that the protesters have come with are words, signs, prayers, and sometimes bubbles. Yes, bubbles. And yet for 4 nights in a row, this community was subjected to attack. Beanbag guns, rubber bullet guns.
Hey, bud.
It's absolutely terrifying to feel the effects of pepper bullets being sprayed at you, and then to immediately have that feeling followed up by hearing a flashbang above your head and a Springer grenade at your feet. And that's only what I experienced. And I'm not a protester. I'm a third party. This is how the sheriffs have chosen to respond to the community's demand for justice and an end to police violence. In addition to targeting the community, the sheriffs have also been targeting members of the press, legal observers, and street medics. On several occasions, the sheriffs have been shining bright lights directly at photojournalists and camera people, despite their very obvious press badges. And as I mentioned before, several members of the press have been very obviously assembled together within the crowd when sheriffs opened fire indiscriminately with their less lethal weapons. In much the same manner, the sheriffs also shined their bright flashlights directly in the faces of legal observers. They were not panning through the crowd, they were directly pointed in our faces. In fact, while I was speaking to the commanding officer the other night about why none of the sheriffs were wearing name badges or wearing badges at all, he directed an officer to shine a light in my face and simply told me he knew my name, He knew who I was and that he was done speaking with me. That's intimidation at its finest. The sheriffs also spent a lot of time training their flashlights on the street medics stationed at the back of the protest. These medics were not participating in the protest. They were simply on standby in case of injury due to these munitions. A car full of medics ended up getting arrested driving away from the area that night. The actions of the Sheriff's Department have terrorized the neighborhood and only serve to emphasize why the community feels the need to speak up at all. Simply put, the violence and brutality at the hands of the sheriffs in response to the community speaking up for the death of one of their own needs to stop. Thank you.
The press are leaving. The press are leaving when we're about to get attacked. The press are leaving when we're about to get attacked.
And guess what we did? I had to ask them. I'm a veteran. I have disabilities. Do not hurt me. Guess what they did? They still hurt me. I have a pinched nerve. I have tremors on my right arm, which what did they do? They twisted my hand back. What did they do? They snatched all my stuff. They took my medical equipment. They snatched my phone. And let's get to about my phone. I am with the Wall of Vets of Los Angeles. And the sheriffs, LASD, hijacked my Instagram. They hijacked my Instagram and they changed my bio to Blue Lives Matter and hashtag support Blue Lives. There is no such thing as Blue Lives. There is no such thing. There is no such thing. Stop fooling yourselves. You're brown, you're white, you're black, you're Asian. There is no Blue Lives. Under my arrest, I experienced a lot of people being in fear. I watched Liliana, her hand cuffed, purple, bloody, in the back of the van, begging and pleading for them to loosen up the cuffs. We've asked them, please, she needs medical attention. Did they listen to us? No. Did they want to help her? No. Once we were inside, before that, actually had asked for a mask. They didn't give me a mask until the next day, 12 hours later. And I asked for a mask because they ripped it off my head once they arrested me. So they're not out there helping us. They're not helping anyone.
Let me talk about what they do to protesters, to people that film, to press. A few days ago, they moved protesters out with an unlawful assembly order. They gave an amount of time. 5 minutes before that time was up, the protesters were backing away. They were leaving the scene. Several of them had to put on helmets, shoulder pads, not because they were trying to instigate, not because they were trying to fight the sheriffs. They did that because we know what was about to happen. When they started backing away, the line began moving up. They chased us for about half a block. After that, they got bored with walking. So several of the sheriffs began running at full speed with their batons out and began chasing us. They beat several people right over there. They began firing pepper bullets. They began firing foam bullets. They began throwing stinger grenades.
I'll just briefly tell you about what happened to me. As we were dispersing from Normandy, a number of shots had already been fired. I ran like a bullet myself down the street trying to escape the situation. We were being hit over and over with rubber bullets, as you can see, tear gas, everything. They were just letting it all go on us. I thought we had gotten away at that point because we were so far from where they had told us to disperse, or from where they started chasing us, to be honest with you. A barricade was moved. I was right in the front, and the sheriff started bull rushing us, running at us, and then started shooting at us. I turned down a side street once I thought we were out. Somebody asked me for a medic, because she had swallowed some tear gas. So I put up an X. That's our call for a medic. And I started to pick up my pace a little bit because I wanted to see if somebody could hear me in the front. So I called for medic. At that point, I heard go off. They hit me in my hand. They hit me in my head. I was wearing a helmet, thank God. The helmet immediately popped off my head, and I was hit in the shoulder as well. At that point, I didn't even know, I didn't even see the sheriffs. I assumed it was them, of course, but I didn't even have time to see the sheriffs. I thought they were on the other side. They came from us from the back. So at that point, I was just trying to get cover. So I ran behind a car because I literally was just getting pelted and pelted. I kneed behind the car. There was a sheriff, and then all of a sudden there was a sheriff in front of me pointing a gun in my face. I put up my hands and I said, "Don't shoot, don't shoot." I was just shaking like a leaf, like, "Please don't shoot." I was crouched down behind this car, and then another another person. I had no idea who it was or what it was, because again, it came from behind. Grabbed my body. I had a backpack on. I'm a member of the press as well. I had my camera on, and he was wrestling with my body, trying to get a hold of me around my body and around my backpack. And then he grabbed my ponytail. Once he got a good hold of me, he ripped me from behind the car, slammed me down into the ground. I was like, "My camera, I'm not resisting, my camera." Smashed my camera. Smashed my head into the ground, put his knee into my neck, into my back. See? Can you see that? Zip it down a little bit. At that point, I had so much pressure on me. I was like, "I can't breathe. I'm not resisting. I can't breathe." And as the words came out of my mouth, I was like, "I can't believe I'm saying this right now. I can't believe I'm saying I can't breathe right now." I thought I was gonna die because there was so much pressure on me. With the knee on me, that's when I felt him rustling around for cuffs. Then he put the silver cuffs on me. I was like, my hand, I've been shot in my hand, like I said. He put the silver cuffs on me so tight, so incredibly tight. I'm gonna take off this so you can see the bruising. Will you hold this for a second? This was on Tuesday. This was from Tuesday. Okay.
Don't shoot!
I was here Tuesday night, and I was hit twice, once in my shoulder, once in my leg. The shoulder is pretty close to the head, and several others have also been hit on the head and on the neck. They don't care where they are aiming, they're just shooting. My sister was arrested, and the next day I came back to help with jail support. Me, along with 3 other comrades, decided to bring brooms, trash cans, and a baking powder solution to dilute the leftover pepper balls that the sheriffs have left.
And pools of blood.
And pools of blood. They did not care to clean up anything. They don't care about the neighborhood as they say they do. We were out there cleaning up, taking away all the leftover ammunition, when sheriff out of nowhere, came behind us and rushed us. They detained us. They handcuffed 2 of the males, but did not handcuff me or the other female. They placed us into the back of their squad cars. They took our information. And then when we were released, they all asked to take our pictures. None of us consented. We all verbally said we do not consent to our pictures being taken. They took it either way. We were released and we tried to get back to our cars to leave. The 2 others were able to leave. Me, along with the other male, we were trying to get back to my sister and then go home. Once we started leaving, a few minutes later, down Normandy, just right there, they pulled us over again. Same officers, same squad cars, same department. They pulled us over claiming that they ran the license plate number and it was supposedly unregistered. Then when I asked an officer, another different officer, why am I being detained? He gave me a different answer and said that our windows were too tinted. So they handcuffed the driver, they brought him away, and then they took me and my sister and detained us and put us into another squad car in the back. Once again, they did not handcuff us, but only handcuffed the males. By then, I believe they had arrested him and brought him away. So my sister and I had no clue. We had no clue what they were doing to him, or if anything had happened. We were left in the squad car for about 10 to 15 minutes, and we watched them as they searched our car and detained several protective gear that we had to protect ourselves from their supposedly less than lethal ammunition. They even took our protest signs, which are literally just paper with paint on it. They towed the car, and with the car, all of our stuff was taken. And when they released us out, we asked, when will we be getting our stuff back? And where can we get our stuff back? They just said, we don't know. And they left us there stranded. I asked if I could have one phone call to get a ride home. They said no. They literally left us stranded, leaving us with nothing. And so my sister were able to reach someone and finally get home. But they targeted community members that were just trying to clean up their mess, and they tried to criminalize us, saying that we were spreading harmful substances. We were just trying to clean up. Thank you.
For no reason. There are dried up piles of blood on the streets where they've injured people so badly that it stains the sidewalk days later. The second night that I came out, I was shot 4 times with rubber bullets and pepper balls, all along my left side. I could tell they were intentionally targeting me because every shot that hit me was nearly touching each other. And that night I wasn't wearing any riot gear. I wasn't wearing armor. I wasn't wearing knee pads. I was wearing a black dress, just a simple black dress. And they shot at me simply because I had been speaking. And then the next day I was shot 3 more times. This time while we were all backing away, trying to leave, trying to get home safely. I was standing in front of the crowd with the shield wall that we had and telling them to back up. And as we're backing up and trying to leave the area, the man next to me is tackled and slammed to the ground by police, and I hear cops coming behind me to tackle me too, and everyone starts running. And as I'm running up the street just by myself, I'm being shot at. There's pepper balls hitting next to my feet, flying past my head. They're shooting directly at me, simply because I had been to these protests and I had spoken. I had done nothing else. I just spoke. That's it. And I was hit 3 times that night, in my back, in my leg just above my Achilles, and in my thigh, the exact same spot where I'd been shot the night before.
He claimed that he was going to take ICE out of the jails. He lied to us about that. Then the first thing he did was he went and hired deputies that had been fired for misconduct, including one that had been accused of and convicted of domestic violence against his girlfriend, who was a deputy sheriff. Hired him back. the board of supervisors said, no, you can't do that. He did it anyways. So then they decided to cut off his paycheck. Then they removed him from that emergency board that he was chairing at that time. So now it's a war. It's a war between Sheriff Villanueva, the board of supervisors, and the community at large. That's why what you're seeing is you're seeing this armed occupation. When he uses this nonsense of all the demonstrators that are coming down here are outside agitators, as was referred to earlier, ask yourself, how many deputies from his department live in this community? How many? Why should he resort to this 1930 style red baiting? It's because they're wrong on the law. They're absolutely wrong on the law, and they're going to find out very soon when we bring it to a judge and ask for some sanctions against them.
I just want to say, you can't make this stuff up. This guy over here just dropped a grenade on the ground. It's like, you know, they come out here, we're just trying to have a press conference, and they come out in full riot gear. It's like, you can't make this up.
Really focus on the speakers, but I also ask that right now you do a 360-degree pan. The sheriffs have decided to kettle a peaceful press conference. Members of the press are kettled, medics are kettled, the National Lawyers Guild is currently kettled. We are fine, there is a way out, but they have decided to show force specifically to silence this press conference.
And it's scary because the sheriffs, they're definitely way more aggressive than the LAPD. Like, way more aggressive. And then they run the jails. So it's like, you do not want to become the enemy of the sheriffs. You know what I mean? Like that. I learned that for sure. After we got arrested, they threw us in the truck, right? They threw us in the truck, and there was pepper spray everywhere. There was pepper balls in the truck, right? They cuffed us. Obviously, first thing, after I got punched in the face, I got cuffed. And the cuffs are super tight, you know, just super tight, where you can't even, it hurts, you know what I mean? Like, look, it's been how many days? It's still there, it's scarred. Look, it's scabbed up. That's 7 days. And look, the scars are still there. That's how tight they are, you know? That's how fucking tight they... As well as all the other injuries, you know? Obviously, the getting shot in the knee was the worst, and the lip. But I got scrapes everywhere.
Who else was in the van with you? What other protesters were in there?
Oh, yeah. So it was me. Initially, when I got in there, you know, I still had my helmet. I was trying to say, like, you know, I'm press. You know, I'm not part of it. You know, like, I'm recording. I still had hope that I would be able to get out. You know, like, that after that, maybe when they took us to the station, I would be able to identify myself, maybe show them the footage that I've been there, that I've been out recording for, like, well over a year. I've been in different places, and so they could see, but that was, like, nothing. As far as they're concerned, I was in the protester, you know what I mean? Like, I was paying for the sins of all the other protesters as well, yeah.
When you talk about the pepper ball, if that was in there, and then talk about the other people that were in there, if the other media girl was hurt.
Yeah, so when they threw us in the truck, obviously everyone got pepper balled. It was everywhere. I don't know what happened to the other people, but there was like a few people already in the truck. They just rolled us on top of each other there. And we're handcuffed, and everyone's screaming in pain. Every single person was complaining about the cuffs, because the cuffs were super tight. And, like, every time you move, they're like, move over, like, but it's like, dude, move over, but move over within 1 second. You know what I mean? Or, like, move over, or you know what I mean? It's just, you know, it's like a threat. I don't know. I took it as, it's like a threat. Like, if you don't move over, we're going to rough you up, you know? And you're saying, like, please, I am. You're in the cuffs. You're already there. Like, you're not fighting back. You know what I mean? I'm not saying anything. No one's saying anything. There was some people in the background getting arrested that were talking back to them. But as far as the people in the truck, everyone was quiet and not saying anything. Everyone's in cuffs, you know? It's still like, I don't know, you're still processing what happened, because just fucking a minute ago you were free. I was riding on my bike, free recording, and then now I'm in cuffs and choking on the pepper balls that were in the back of the bed. There was like a big pile. Like maybe they had a box, or I don't know how they packaged the pepper balls, but they were just there, and I was just rolling in it, and I tried to tell them, but they did not give one fuck. You know what I mean? You're rolling in it, they're like laughing, dude. They don't give a shit. And yeah, I rolled in it. I had basketball shorts on, and it just like burned the whole night. It was burning through like my thigh, dude. And it's just fucking even worse, dude. It got into like my fucking ass a little bit. You know what I mean? It was like burning. And that shit was all over the clothes, and everyone was coughing, and like. Funny thing is, like, I think a lot of the people there had masks. Either they were there, and it's like, dude, this is like no one's, like the protesters were masked, but they were actually trying to take them off so they could actually like spit and get all that shit out of their system and mucus, I guess. And everyone was just sneezing and coughing, as well as the cops. And they were like, we were in the truck looking up, and they're hanging off the truck. Like, you know, just intimidating as fuck to see like 20 cops above you in full riot gear just looking down at you and shit. And saying what they had to say.
What about the injuries with the other people that were...
Oh, yeah. So in the truck, everyone, after the court day, when I seen it, like almost every single person had some injuries. Every single person was injured. They got arrested, and every single one got tackled, injured, lumps on their head, scrapes all over their face, obviously scrapes on the knees, and that's like the least of it, you know, when you get thrown down. But people got bruised up and battered. And then next to me was this girl that was a photographer. There was actually two legit photographers there too. There was her, and then another guy that's a student at a local college, and he had student media press pass and everything. I think they broke his camera. He was worried about his camera. And like everybody else, we try to identify ourselves. We're not part of this. Look, we're videotaping. It didn't matter. So she actually, they were moving us around, and then they brought another van. They like overpiled the truck, and then another van came. So they took some of the people off of the truck and put them in the van. And she stayed, and she was actually next to me, and she was fucking hysterical, dude. She was hysterical. Like, she was in super pain. I think she was yelling that her wrist was broken, and it looked fucked up. It was all red, bloody, and like, there was so many. It was nighttime, but you can tell like her shoulder was all fucked up, and she was just hysterical, dude. She was hysterical in pain and trying to say that she was media and like please, but she was hysterical, dude. Like, people try to calm her down, still like, you know, calm down, but she was out of it. She was in so much pain. I think I'm 100% sure she's never experienced nothing like that, you know. And she got fucked up. Oh yeah, so like yeah, so all my stuff is gone. The most important things to me were my phones, you know, my cell phone and my streaming phone. And those things are gone. I don't know. It looked like they stomped it or at least kicked it. I asked, when I was in the truck, I asked the guy, like, when I said, I'm press on media, you know, my cell phone is over there and some of my stuff dropped. Do you think you can get it? And they're like, no. Like, we'll see. Yeah. Or I think they're like, yeah, sure. But, like, at that point, I still had hope that they were going to get. I thought there was like, okay, this is an arrest. You have your rights. And maybe I didn't put up no fight whatsoever. I was talking to them as sir, yes, sir. When they were trying to lump me in the protest, I said, look, I'm here independently. I'm not a protester. You know, like, I thought, for some reason, I just still had hope that I would at least get my property back. It's right there. It's right there, you know, like, it was in my hand when it went down. It's just, I thought they would at least collect it as evidence or something, you know. But it didn't turn out that I got it back. It just disappeared. I did have my other phone in my pocket, and that one they took out of my pocket when I got to the station before they put us in, and that one's gone too. Just disappeared. It wasn't in my when I finally got released. We went from there. We spent like, I don't know, five hours at the sheriff's, and then they transferred us up to county. And when we got released from county, it wasn't in the property. None of the phones are in my property or my backpack, and just other stuff. I had like batteries, cables, stuff to stream, equipment, selfie sticks, little tripods, stuff like that. So it's missing. It's just gone. And I don't know. Oh, after I got released, right? After I got released from county, I mean, it just throws like your world upside down. You know what I mean? When you just come out of jail, it's like you don't have anything, right? Even like when I was in jail, in the thing, I had pepper spray that it was all over me because we were rolling around in it in the truck. It was all over my shorts and my shirt. And the guy that fingerprinted us actually was like, "Here, do you want that shirt?" And I was like, "Well, yeah, I want this shirt." He's like, "But it has full of pepper spray." I was like, "Yeah, but," I was like, "Yeah, if I can get another shirt, you know?" So I guess he has to tell you, like, you need to actually, like, give up the shirt so they can throw it away. And he gave me an LA County shirt, right? And I got transferred to LA County in that LA County shirt. But after being in that jail all the time, when they released us, I had to give back. You get put in everything, dude. Pants, socks, underwear, the shirt, which I already had on from the other jails, the same one, and the shirt that goes over the whole uniform, you know. And you have to take it off so you can leave. But I didn't have no shirt since I gave up that shirt over there. And they gave me like this cheap ass jump. I was like, I'll walk out of here. I was just like, if I'm getting out of here, I don't care, dude. I'll walk out of here in my fucking boxers right now, dude. I don't give a shit. I'll walk out of here naked. I don't care, dude. I just want to get the fuck out of here, you know? That's all you think, bro. Like, you just want to just get the fuck out of here, you know? No matter what. But the guy was cool, and, like, he gave me this jumpsuit, like a all black mechanic one-piece jumpsuit that's made out of, like, this paper-thin material, dude. I put it on, and it ripped right away. It fucking ripped. And I was holding it. I was like, oh, shit, dude, please die. I just didn't want any more delay. Like, I just want, get the fuck out of there, dude. That was, like, the worst. Whatever those 12, 13 hours we were in there, dude, to me, it felt like months. You know what I mean? Just the isolation, the coldness, the being in a limbo of not knowing what's going to happen. And also, like, you have to memorize everyone's number you have to have in your head to be able to call people. And, like, I don't have anyways. And I got released. So that one, he was like, I'm not going to let you walk out of here with that. And he gave me another one, and I got released in a jumpsuit like that. And I walked into the sheriff's station. No laces on the shoes. They give you the shoes. And in that jumpsuit, I didn't give a fuck. Once we got an Uber back to the station. And I went in there to try to retrieve my property. Luckily, it's like fenced off. You know, they have the slinky and the tape. Like, the station is basically closed. The sheriff's station is closed. But I was outside, and I waved a guy that works there, like the clerk, you know, for the sheriffs that works at the desk there, and he let me go. I told him, I was just like, waved him. I was like, you know, can I go through something? I was like, not taking any chances, dude. I'm not crossing this fucking slinky whatsoever. I figured, like, well, it's a police station. It should be open to the public, but it's in the parking lot. I'm free right now. You know what I mean? I thought I could cross, but I was like, no, I'm not crossing that shit. But finally I waved, and then when he gave me the okay to come, I went, and I called the property. I asked about my phone, and nothing was in there. I think only the bike was supposedly in evidence. Yeah, I seen well, I don't know if they were sheriff phones, but iPhones, if they have those, but there was definitely people taking pictures and what looked like video. When we were in the truck, I seen somebody recording, and then when we were in the back at the station, they actually took our picture. They took everyone's picture. Like, we made us go front and left with a personal cell phone. It looked like, I don't know if those are sheriff phones or what, but to me it looked like a personal phone, like they were building up some type of database.
And were you actually arrested, or were you just detained?
Oh, I was arrested. Yeah, I was fingerprinted and cuffed and put to jail, and then went to county. And the charge was failure to disperse, misdemeanor.
And have you been back to any protests since? Have you tried recording anything? And if so, what was that experience like?
I haven't gone to any protests since then, because I didn't have a phone. It took me a few days to get a phone and equipment, so I hadn't gone back, but I did go back to when I went to film for a little bit outside of the hospital, because what happened is some kid shot two sheriffs. You guys probably heard about this in national stories. Shot two sheriffs in the head outside somewhere in Compton, and they had transferred the cops to that hospital, and I went out there and recorded it. That's it. Just to report on it, show people what's happening, because people called me and told me that there was like a shit, like the whole platoon had gone to the hospital. They actually closed down the hospital, locked it down. And even when I got there, there was like, there had to be at least 50 or 50 plus, just all the vehicles, the whole thing going down the street. I guess they were leaving, but it was crazy. I didn't see I just seen a handful of people in the corner. It was, to me, I was like, they must have got some type of threat call or something, because there were just so many cop vehicles, dude. Those F-350, those militarized trucks, dude. There was like 5, 6 of them. They brought everything, dude. Every SUV, every car, anything, dude. You see it all, dude. Yeah, I would just say, like, in closing, dude, that it just opened my eyes up to how things really work, and like how unsafe it is, and how your freedom could be taken away just like that, and also like that we need some cameras for the sheriffs, like they need to have cameras to protect themselves, as well as, see, maybe all of this could have even been avoided if they had the camera during the Dijon Kizzee incident. You know what I mean? The big argument is that Dijon had a gun on him, supposedly. This is allegedly and supposedly, because I just kind of film and report what's happening. And as far as like the actual story and I don't go research too much into that. You know what I mean? I kind of just show what's happening in the aftermath. And that has to go through the court system. You know what I mean? That's not up to me. That's up to the viewer, and that's through the courts, That's not my job to decide that. And if they had the cameras, they could have, it would be way more easier to see if it was justified or not, Whether the argument is that it's never justifiable, but was it protected under the law, as the law currently states, that was it protected that they were actually defending themselves? Did he pull the gun out? Did he point it at shoot at the cop with the gun? Then you already, you know what I mean? Was it that? If we just had cameras, at least we could see. It would help. I think it would help a ton. They definitely need to get some cameras. I was amazed that they didn't have any. LAPD has them. I mean, I think me growing up, I faced a shitload of fucking harassment, profiling, getting pulled over, getting your car searched, like over and over again. And the thing that's, I think, changed that is that now the cops have cameras. You know what I mean? There's accountability. Before, they could literally get away with whatever they wanted. I'm talking about LAPD. Most of my interactions were LAPD growing up. And I can't even count the times that I've been stopped, frisked, pulled over, get the car searched, pulled over, where are you going, where are you coming from, all this for what? And then they'll say something like, your exhaust was too loud, when you have the stock exhaust from the dealer, you know what I mean? Or, your license plate frame light was out. But you're coming the opposite way of me, you know what I mean? The front plate, and you do a U-turn to get back behind me, and you go back after they leave and it's not out, you know what I mean? They would get away with stuff like that because those were the policing tactics before. And obviously that's not allowed anymore because there's cameras and there's accountability. So I would just want to say that I'm not against the police. I'm not against the police. I'm not against the protesters. I'm just an individual, one guy. Actually, I'm in the worst position because it almost seems like you have to pick a side out there. You know what I mean? Like, everyone is forcing people into certain sides. And like, well, what if you're not on the side? What if you're a centrist? If you're just like, well, I agree with some of the stuff here and I agree with some of the stuff here. You're just like in the middle. Then you have no support. It's like anyone could turn on you. And there's been a lot of, especially with the internet, there's so much misinformation. There's so much like toxicity, so many negative people out there that like, even me when I'm live streaming, it's like, they call me all this shit. It's funny because it's like, they call you Antifa, right? And then they call you Trumper if you're like doing another thing. It's like, I'm everything. You know what I mean? It's like, they call you everything, dude. As well as other horrible things, but they call you like, you're a shill for Antifa, or you're a right-wing extremist or something because you said something that agreed with something. You know what I mean? That's it. Because you don't hate Trump. Like with a passion or something. So as far as the live streaming is just, it's like so powerful. You know what I mean? Because there's no lying in it. There's like no way to manipulate the footage. There is afterwards, I guess, if you want to just chop a little piece here that agrees with what you're trying to push or their agenda. But it also protects everyone because the cops aren't wearing cameras. And so people need to film themselves, and that filming, those streamers are really important because it's going to help people. Something horrible is going to happen and it's going to be caught, and it's going to save somebody's life probably, you know, from being wrongfully convicted or to bring justice one way or the other, because that shit doesn't lie, you know? So I think it's important. And also just, I don't like the way the media covers stuff. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't cover, like, why aren't the news media doing this? You know, like, they show up on the perimeter, they take their little 60 seconds of footage here and there, and then the clip is like 15 seconds of like a couple South L.A. Things got rowdy. They just show like whatever, shooting, people with signs, and that's it. But when I'm out there, you see everything that's going on, you know, you see it all. You see the background, you see the people talking, you see the cops moving in. You can see what each side is complaining about too, you know, like you can see the cops being too forceful. Like at the press conference, they surrounded, it was a legit press conference. News media, all the news media got there, it was live on some of the channels. Lawyers group was there. And the cops surrounded it in full riot gear because it was outside of the police station. So I think that they need to learn from that to not like not antagonize and bring the you know what I mean? Like to not, what's the word I'm looking for? Antagonize or
like escalate. Yeah,
escalate. They're kind of escalating it by doing that, you know? Not kind of. It is, because they go up to you as close as they can. They establish the perimeter, and it's like they have all these weapons, and they're in full riot gear, and they bring out the big trucks and the slinkies and all. And it's like, that's why the protest, their chant is like, why are you in riot gear? You know, I don't see no riot here. When they're just, at worst, sometimes they're just yelling, you know? Well, yeah, I would just say that, yeah, like, everyone's getting painted with the same broad brush if you're just on this side of the police tape or that side of the police tape. You know, like, if you're on this side of the police tape, I see how people are yelling at some of the cops that, who knows, those cops could be the greatest cops out there that never did anything wrong, that followed every rule, you know, that treat everyone with respect, that don't cross the line. And they're getting brought into it. And also on the same part, it's like the 99% of the protest, or the people on the other line that are protesting, or just even just recording media, like there might be one or two guys every 5 nights that does something, like throws a bottle or pushes over a trash can or does something, you know? But both sides are taking it out on everyone on the side, you know? It's like, instead of would seem would be more reasonable is to get the people that are actually, you know, doing the thing, instead of taking it out on such, just as a group in general, I guess, large group. As far as cops watching, I think for sure they watch. I mean, everyone, so many, like, thousands of people tune in when shit's hitting the fan, you know, like on a regular stream, you might see 20, 30, 40 people. But when shit's hitting the fan, thousands of people. So everyone is watching. You can just go through the comments. I try not to I only censor racist slurs, spamming, and doxing. Besides that, I allow everyone to say whatever they have to say in the comments, you know? So that's how I like, because I'm not on either side. You can say whatever you want, but I just don't like, you know, the spamming, doxing, racism. And obviously the cops, they're probably in there watching. And I suspect sometimes some accounts, like I kind of suspect that maybe it might be a cop watching for some reason. But, I mean, I'm live. It's live. So that's kind of like the dangerous part of what I do, is that it's live so people can pinpoint where you are at any time, you know? So I'm careful, and I don't want to become the enemy of groups with a lot of power, because I'm just one guy with fucking nothing, pretty much, and no one to back me, but no one, dude. Maybe the public defender will back me, dude. But I don't like the track record with public defenders, so I'm trying to avoid as much as I can. I definitely consciously will not break a law, you know, or intentionally out there breaking laws. But there's that gray area when you're out there videotaping that so many laws. You're always breaking a law somewhere. You know what I mean? There's too many laws. You're always breaking a law. No matter what you do, whether it's jaywalking or just too many things, dude. Not checking the right box on your taxes, bro. Yeah, definitely I think that the groups need to come together. The sheriff needs to come out and like actually integrate with the community and talk with the community and talk with the protesters. You know what I mean? Without all the fucking riot gear and the whole thing ready to go off, and maybe they're there, put them at a distance. You know what I mean? But bring them out without and talk to people, because that's the one thing I haven't seen is the cops never say anything. Like, I don't know if that's the policy. They never say one word. I've only heard negative stuff said back. You know, when they get angry and it boils over, or they give orders. But besides that, they never agree or disagree or talk to people like, you know, I get you. Or even just saying, you know, you guys have your right to disagree and protest, and let me just do my job here, because I'm here to protect. You know what I mean? I'm here to protect you guys as well as myself. Like, I'm here to protect you guys from getting hurt too. And I think looking at it from the protester side is just like they feel like that the cops don't care. You know what I mean? They never make any statements except condemning them. Like I just feel like there's a feeling that they don't give a shit. Like, they don't care, and they never have, and you can see why they think that they never will, because you never hear of a cop saying or admitting to wrongdoing, or maybe that's a legality thing, you know, but that's what I got pulled in by some detectives to answer some questions, and I don't know if they were being genuine in saying that they wanted it to end and they wanted to talk to people, or if they were just trying to get people to name who's running certain things. But like I said, I mean, you guys are top tier detectives. You guys, they should know. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I find out like anybody else through social media. It's like it spreads like wildfire. This is going down over here, or someone will send me a text. Go over there. There's gonna be an event, but I don't know. I don't know if they were legit what they said was they wanted it to stop, and they wanted to find out what they could do to make it stop. That's what they were saying, you know? So I hope that they were fucking genuine in what they were saying, that they're actually looking for options to make it stop and actually talk or agree. There has to be some type of agreement, you know? But it's just so complicated. I don't know. Because it's not like people are going to stop getting shot by the police. Like, I don't see that. It's almost like we need a weapon in between the gun and the taser or something. You know what I mean? We need like a laser Star Wars gun or something that'll incapacitate people without killing them, you know? Like, maybe Elon Musk needs to fucking hit the R&D room and, you know, stop giving us like an electric car or whatever he's working on now. Do the electric toilet or some shit. The solar powered porta potty. Yeah, as far as like what they can do to, I guess, bring peace. Like, I'm not sure, dude. You would think that like the protesters would, or the people, I'm not even saying protesters because there's so many different people on. I'm just going to go by the police tape. On this side of the tape is the police. On this side of the tape is everyone else. Protesters, political groups, individuals, citizens. You know what I mean? Just like some organized, some not organized. Like each side would point out the bad apples on each side. And that would help bring the sides together. You know what I mean? Because there wouldn't be that as much friction. But I don't know if that's possible. I mean, human beings just are very tribal, emotional, and then there's all this legality in play, and like, you know what I mean? Like, do you want to be the cop that turns on that bad cop? Like, you know what I mean? Like, you're already on that side. You see the power that's there. Do you want to be against all that power? And also on the other side, do you want to like turn someone that's on your side in but that's actually crossing the line, you know? So I don't know if that's possible. I don't know. Who knows? We'll see. Tune in and we'll see. The live stream maybe, and hopefully I don't have to pick any sides and I can just keep bringing the coverage. My channel is Alien Alphabet on YouTube, and I'm like in a niche called IRL, live streaming, but I also like, this is IRL, you know, it kind of stands for like incorporating real life or in real life streaming. But I also like being out, I just kind of stumbled into going into these protests, you know, because I thought it was important. And I'm going to be out there, you know, like I'm still going to be out there. I'm going to be way more careful. I definitely don't want to become the enemy of any police department, any political group out there. But it's almost like inevitable, you know, that you're out there, that people are going to turn on you. But I'm just hoping for the best on that I'll be able to navigate, you know, free of any more harm. But yeah, if you guys want to see, I'm based in Los Angeles. Not all my streams, I kind of private them. I leave the ones that I think are really important up, you know, like that are protest coverage, stuff that I think people need to see that the media is not showing. But I do a lot of nonsense too, like comedy, lifestyle. L.A. is real low tier entertainment, but you should still sign up because I'm doing it.